I just saw Problemista, the new A24 movie. And man, A24 is like 100 for 100. Everything that company puts out, I will watch it. Even if it's weird, even if I don't like it that much, they are leading the way in groundbreaking, pushing the limits, abstract filmmaking. I feel like I hope that A24 is not bought by one of the big studios where it just becomes another BS big company that's out there that doesn't take any freaking risk. Anyway, I'm going to start off this review with non-spoilers, and then I'll get into spoilers. I freaking loved this movie. 5 out of 5 for sure. I think it was the actual like writer directorial debut, and the star also was the writer director, which was so cool. I love seeing that. That's what I want to do. So it's really inspiring when I see that. And Tilda Swinton, I mean, she's phenomenal in everything. So let me just give you the gist of like the tone of what I felt. And if you've seen the trailer, and maybe if you haven't, you know, it is about this El Salvadorian kid or young man who arrives in New York, and he's trying to get sponsored so that he can have a work visa so that he can work in this country. And so it addresses a lot of these kind of the red tape and the like ridiculousness of like, you got to rob Peter to pay Paul, to like, that's actually not a good metaphor, but how you have to have someone sponsor you, but then they can't pay you, but then how are you supposed to survive? So you're supposed to do jobs that only get cash. And then there's like this really long, expensive application. And if you no longer, or you lose a specific job, then you have like a month to, figure it out. But anyways, I'm rambling. This film it felt like, if you don't like indie films and you don't like films, if you like films that are linear and natural and make all the sense and like never take any sort of risk, you're probably not going to like this film. But it wasn't even that extreme. It felt like, I'm going to do some weird mashup comps here. It felt like a mix of Pee-wee's Big Adventure and The Pursuit of Happiness. Like, that sounds really funny. It wasn't a dramatic film. It was definitely a comedy. The tone is definitely this kind of like dry, I wouldn't even call it sarcastic, but like this dry, just dry, maybe sarcastic. It's really, oh no, a dry satire, if I was going to say, like the kind of what it's making fun of in terms of like privilege and wealth and like just the kind of bureaucracy of what it is to get citizenship in the US and just in general, I think. And what is so, but yeah, I know that's like, those are really weird mashups. It's not a drama at all, even though there's definitely some elements that are dramatic that make you feel something. But, the Tilda Swinton character is like the ultimate Karen / crazy maker. But what I really loved about it was that they dove deep into why she was that way, and you actually started to feel for her character. What a concept. She wasn't just painted as this like one-dimensional demon, even though when it's first starting out, I'm like, wow, she's absolutely insane. But what's cool is that through his desperation of having to work with her, it's like he had to kind of love and accept her for who she is, and had to see, how do I interact with her and speak to, I used to do sales and I did a lot of coaching and training, and I was trained to like, how can you listen for what's behind someone's communication? Like, not what they're actually saying, because a lot of times what people are actually saying is not what they're actually upset about. Like, how can you hear what's behind it, right? Like the emotion that's behind it, what they're actually upset about. So he did like, and there was just all these really cool, funny, abstract, almost like magical realism flashes to like he goes onto Craigslist, and I don't know the actor's name. He's such a funny comedic actor. I always see him in Abbott Elementary. And he was like, they like show all these like weird, it's almost like he's like this garbage monster, but it's like it's this abstract representation of what Craigslist is and going on Craigslist is. And it was so freaking funny. And yeah, Greta Lee was in it, Tilda Swinton. It was so wonderful, wonderfully delightful. And the thing that was so great about, I actually realized that I'm not spoiling anything, so this is like a non-spoiler episode. What was so great about, well, maybe this is a spoiler, but okay, I'll signify it. Was so great about their unlikely friendship. So is that even though they were so different, like Tilda Swinton, even though like she occurred as like absolutely nuts, because she had such conviction when she thought something was wrong, she really stood up for herself and she demanded that things be a certain way. And sometimes it is important to have that element of your personality when things are silly and make no fucking sense and there's rules for rules' sake. It's like, so like for her to this is going to be a spoiler. If you don't want to hear spoilers, turn it off now. Stop listening now. For her to be the one that tells him to eventually tell him, oh, like you gotta fight for what you want. Like, you got to go in there and be like, give me a job. Oh, you're telling me to go right? I'm going to go up. Like you got to have that level of conviction when you're going after your dreams. And one of his biggest flaws as the main character was that he would whisper and he wouldn't really ask for what he wanted. And he wouldn't really say like, this is what works for me and this is what doesn't work for me. So like, how fucking cool that like she was the one that ultimately taught him that in the end, that ultimately had him fulfill his dream and get what he wanted in the very end. It was so good. I loved it.